Hey guys, welcome back to another Tech Show video. Today's video is just going to be a quick look at this Android powered media player that I bought on eBay for about $10 US. This device is the Trio Stealth Lite, a media player device that I had never heard of before I found this one. But I'm really excited to check it out because I just love cheap little Android devices like this. Over on the side of the box we can see some of the device specifications. It is apparently running Android 4.0, has a 4.3-inch touchscreen display, 4 GB of internal storage, a 1.2 GHz processor, and 512 MB of DDR3 RAM. Kind of oddly specific, but I guess they were trying to make this thing sound as impressive as possible. Now before we go any further, I want to acknowledge that this is a 2012 era device that I paid about $10 for. I'm really not expecting anything special at all. It's just a little gadget that I'm checking out just because it piqued my curiosity. So let's go ahead and open up the box and check out what we've got inside. First up, we've got the device itself, and under that we have a mini USB cable and some very cheap looking earbuds. We've also got a bunch of ads and a user guide. I wanted to look through this user guide really quick just out of curiosity, and this caught my interest. Apparently they identify this device as a MID or mobile internet device. I just thought it was kind of interesting because they also refer to it as an internet tablet, kind of like the Nokia internet tablets, a line of devices I definitely want to review on this channel eventually. Anyway, getting back to the user manual, it says that this apparently runs on a box chip A13 SoC, not too unusual for an Android device from this price point. But anyway, let's go ahead and plug it in and see if it works, because there's honestly no guarantee that this thing is even going to turn on, so here we go. And yep, it starts up just fine and shows several little splash screens before dropping right into Android. I was kind of expecting it to ask me to log into my Google account or something, but nope, no setup required, it just lets you start using it immediately. Unfortunately, after a few seconds of using it, it suddenly shut off. I thought maybe the battery just needed to charge, so I gave it a little time to charge and tried it again. This time though, I noticed that it said the battery was at 100%, not a good sign since I definitely didn't give it enough time to charge all the way up. And sure enough, despite showing 100% battery, when unplugged, it immediately dies. I'm a bit disappointed, but not at all surprised, because these cheap MP3 players and gadgets like it always have really crappy batteries that don't have much life at all. And since this has probably been sitting in the box unused for almost 10 years, a bad battery is completely expected. Fortunately, turning down the screen brightness seems to keep it from turning off, and now we can explore this thing a little more. To my surprise, this thing actually feels really fast and smooth. Scrolling through menus and opening apps is, for the most part, surprisingly painless. Like, seriously, I've used modern Android phones that feel slower than this. Now, I haven't connected this to Wi-Fi or installed any apps yet, so let's change that. I'm not going to connect to Wi-Fi right now, but since it does take a micro SD card, I'm going to load up a card with some old Android games and see what this thing can do. So I've loaded some games on a web browser onto this SD card, so let's go ahead and pop it in. Most of the stuff installed just fine, but some of it either didn't install at all or required connection to a web server that no longer exists. While some more demanding games ran a bit slow, gaming was overall a success. Nothing out of the ordinary, but for $10 and just such a tiny cheap feeling device, somehow I expected it to suck, but it really doesn't. I also wanted to try web browsing, which didn't go too great. The included browser is pretty much non-functional anymore since it doesn't support HTTPS, but Opera browser works alright. But yeah, I'm not going to do much web browsing in this thing anytime soon. I'm definitely sticking with the games for now. We do still have the issue of the battery though. It's really annoying because it's supposed to be a portable device, but now I'm tethered to a wall. But what's worse than that is it randomly shuts down if you turn up the screen brightness or try to use Wi-Fi much, since the charger doesn't give quite enough power without a battery. I mean, at least it's not bulging and threatening to catch my house on fire. Not yet, at least. But for safety reasons and just out of curiosity, I decided to pop it open and see the battery, and maybe plan to replace it. This thing was kind of annoying to get open because it just snaps together with some very tight clips that make scary cracking noises when you unclip them. But when I did finally get it open, I found our problem. The battery wasn't even connected. One of the battery cables hadn't been properly soldered or hadn't been soldered at all and had just become disconnected, obviously rendering the battery useless. I considered reconnecting the battery and trying to charge it up, but seeing as how the date code on here says this battery is from late 2012, this thing is a house fire just waiting to happen. Besides that, there's a good chance it wouldn't even hold much if any of a charge anymore, and to top that all off, this is a really short cable and it would be more trouble than it's worth trying to reconnect it. So for my safety and sanity, I decided to just take the battery out and send it to recycling where it can't harm anyone. And on a side note, look how disgusting this battery is. There's literally hair trapped under the adhesive. Like, what's going on here? This is absolutely gross, and I'm getting rid of it as soon as possible. Okay, so we've kind of got the battery situation sorted out. I know this doesn't really solve the issue of it sometimes using too much power and shutting off, but at least I will be able to store this device without worrying about what the battery is doing, and if I want to make it portable, I can just plug it into a battery bank. Not ideal, but I'll take it. One last thing, if anyone is wondering if it still will log into a Google account, install apps from the Play Store, or watch YouTube videos, the answer is unfortunately no. This thing is running Android 4.0, and as far as I know, Google has banned 4.0 from using any of their services. Correct me if I'm wrong, but from my experience, the earliest Android version that is still supported by Google services is Android 4.4, so we're just a little too old here. But I'm still not complaining. There are plenty of games that can be sideloaded on here, and I've honestly enjoyed playing some classic old Android games and Flash games, some of which I'd completely forgotten about, and this is just bringing back so much nostalgia. But anyway, I can't lie, this was a pretty fun purchase. Nothing special, just a crappy little media player that runs Android. It does exactly what it's supposed to, and honestly I couldn't have asked for any better from a late night $10 eBay purchase. So that's gonna be it for this video. Apparently there are actually a bunch of different Trio MP3 players and tablets that I kind of want to explore now. I'm not sure if that would be anything you guys would be interested in seeing. If so, make sure to let me know in the comments below, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any future content. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.